What's up, y'all? If you have ADHD, troubles with focusing, productivity, getting distracted, inability to remember information, well, this episode is going to be all about that, some of the myths about it, and how you can actually start to help it as well. So I've got this website that I found called Very Well Mind, and generally it's a very good source for information, and it probably is for this as well. However, I just have some different takes on this. Okay, so when it comes to ADHD, here are some of the things that you might have if you have it. Difficulty staying focused on tasks, number one. Problems with tuning out while you're doing tasks. Another one is disorganization. Another one, taking on multiple tasks and not finishing them. Failure to meet deadlines, difficulty paying attention in long meetings, missing important details in conversation, experiencing boredom. Okay. Forgetfulness, feeling undervalued or misunderstood, and overstimulation. All right. So I want to break these down just a tad for a moment, because I see all of the information on how to improve your ability to remember information and how to deal with ADHD is identical to people who don't have ADHD. There's no difference in the actual systems that people tell you to do. So I want to go through them and hopefully you can grab some stuff from it, okay? One of the first things it says to do if you want to improve your ability to focus is, number one, avoid multitasking. I mean, this is pretty obvious, and this is something that I talk about all the time, regardless if you have ADHD, ADD, ODD, dyslexia, whatever. Anybody, every single brain, no one's able to actually multitask. Multitasking isn't actually a thing. We think that we can because we might be doing multiple different systems at once, but we're not actually focusing on more than one thing at one time. The brain is only capable of focusing on one thing. So if you want to test this by yourself, I do this a lot of the time in my workshops, and I get people to do this exact task. So the first thing I want you to do is count out loud from 1 to 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the next thing I want you to do is go from in the alphabet from A to J. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, those are two separate tasks. Now what I want you to do is combine them. And I want you to go 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E, like that, all the way to J. I want you to give it a go now. All right, if you tried that exercise and you started to get to about 5 and having a little bit of difficulty right there, that's completely normal. Maybe, just maybe, you actually got to 10 and J. I doubt you did it without starting to slow down, just by the way. And if you did, go all the way through the alphabet and number 26. So what's actually happening is we're running two separate tasks at once. And what happens with that is your ability to do either task dissipates. So you can do both tasks really well by themselves. You can count from 1 to 10 effortlessly. You can go from A to J without any issues. But when you combine two separate tasks at one time, your brain is rapidly switching in between the two tasks. And that means your ability to do either of those tasks gets worse. So when people say avoid multitasking, this isn't just for people with ADHD. This is something I promote to all of my clients, and anybody goes through my programs, anybody I have coaching with, or all of my information on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram is to stop trying to multitask, because you actually cannot multitask. Stop trying to do it. And one of the tasks that they give you to do here to improve your ability to stop multitasking is try doing one thing at one time. No way. That's what focus is. But they say to use a timer for 45 minutes and a 15-minute break. And they also say to use a Pomodoro technique, which is also something that I promote all the time. Pomodoro is really, really great because after around 20 minutes of focus work, your ability to focus diminishes slightly. But focus is a skill. Skills can be improved. So you can improve that ability to focus intently for longer. But in general, a Pomodoro is a great technique regardless of if you have ADHD or if you have a normal brain. Okay, so regardless, if you have ADHD or not ADHD, stop trying to multitask. Start focusing on just one thing, one time, and your ability to do any of these things is going to get better. And when you're doing a Pomodoro technique, you focus 25 minutes on one single task. When you get distracted, because you will, nobody's perfect, even I get distracted with these things, you write it down on a piece of paper that I got distracted. Maybe the cats are running around in the background like they are with me right now and they're distracting. Maybe you see a cute doggo across the road. Maybe somebody gives you a phone call. Whatever it is, write it down on a fresh sheet of paper and get back to the task at hand. It's that simple. That's a Pomodoro technique. And then after your 25 minutes, have a 5-minute break and then do it again. Focus on one single task, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. You can have 4 times of that and then take a longer break. Okay, so that's for ADHD people and for everybody else. Okay, so nothing special there. The next one it says is to break tasks into manageable chunks, because if you focus on too many things, you get overwhelmed. Again, this isn't special to people with ADHD. Most of my clients have the same issue. They try to focus on too many things and they're not able to do it all because it's overwhelming. And the analogy I use, or the metaphor, is how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. So instead of trying to eat an entire elephant, it gets overwhelming. Okay, so we want to take the one single bite. We want to simplify the process and find our easiest entry point so that there's less friction, less hesitation. Because if you see this huge overarching task, so maybe it's a new task especially that you're not very good at, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to avoid it. Humans have a tendency to avoid pain. And this is what we do when we get distracted, is because we're avoiding a painful task, which is just maybe boredom or something, and we go towards something that's going to give us pleasure, in which case it's generally entertainment. Because we'll go to Instagram or TikTok or whatever, it'll flood our brain with dopamine, we just got a reward. So we went away from the boring task into an interesting, I'm putting air quotes up there, interesting task instead, which is a dopamine hit from social media, which they spend billions of dollars every year to make sure that happens to you, okay? So we want to break stuff down into manageable chunks. This is not special to ADHD. Break it down, make it really simple. So instead of focusing on having to get done 10 different sections of a course in the next hour, focus on the first single task. And if you want to take it further, you can do something from Atomic Habits, which is the 2-minute rule, which is you focus on the first 2 minutes of any new task rather than the whole task. So that might look like if you're about to go for a 27-kilometer run, for whatever reason you do that. I don't love that. I don't love running personally. But if you're going to go for a 27-kilometer run, you don't focus on the 27 kilometers, especially in the beginning. You focus on getting your socks on and your shoes, putting the key outside the door. And then you would focus on putting one foot in front of the other. You're not focusing on the 27 kilometers. You're just focusing on the beginning, the actual part that is the hurdle to us starting a task, which is the resistance, the procrastination, the hesitation. Because again, we want to avoid that pain and seek pleasure. That's what humans do. Nothing to do with ADHD. So whatever task you were doing, break it down into small things that you don't hesitate. It's so easy, it's so effortless that you can do it. Instead of a 45-minute workout, imagine yourself just going to the gym and picking up the first weight. That's all you need to focus on. If it's going to be stretching for 30 minutes, stretch for 3 minutes instead, so that you don't worry about the 10 times extra effort. You're just focusing on 3 minutes of stretching. You can do that. Even make it smaller, make it 30 seconds of stretching. It doesn't actually matter, but we always want to break things down into things that are manageable, that we're not going to hesitate from. So there's another little thing from ADHD that is the same and akin to everybody. Now the next one is use visual reminders. If you've done any of my trainings, this is what we use all the time. So the brain has a really, really great way of remembering visually. Regardless if you think you're a visual or auditory or kinesthetic experiential learner, you're all of the things because you have all the senses. But visual is the most powerful because we can take in the most information and stimulus from our visual input than any other sense. So for example, if you were to close your eyes right now and open your eyes just for 1 second and close it. Maybe not if you were driving. Hopefully you didn't do that. But if you were to do that, you can take in so much information from the world around you in just 1 second. So if I were to do that, I'll be like, okay, I've got 3 whiteboards, I've got some curtains, I've got a balcony out there with some fake grass, I've got a round little pot in front of me for flowers, and then I've got another laptop next to me. I've got my laptop, and I've got an iPad, and I've got a microphone, I've got my phone watching me, I've got white walls. You know, I can take in all this information so quickly from my visual senses that I can't if I had to explain it with my mouth. If I had to speak these things to you, you wouldn't be able to actually comprehend it, firstly, and then you wouldn't be able to actually create a perfect picture of what it looks like. So when we open our eyes and we take in things visually, we can take in so much more information very quickly. So a lot of the time, memory techniques are creating these visual recognizable cues in our mind that we add our other senses in, like our scent or hearing or movement, and we make it emotional because these things help our focus. This makes us focus on one singular thing because you're trying to create these pictures, you're engaging your imagination. Okay, so using visual reminders, this is not special to ADHD either. Okay, so far I haven't found anything that is just, special or unique to people with ADHD. What's the next thing? Okay, connect with positive coworkers. Okay, this is again, I don't really have much to say about this. In general, you want to be around people that make you feel good and people that you aspire to be better with. So you always want to be growing. Doesn't matter if you have ADHD. It's not like only people with ADHD should be around happy people. No. When you have positive influences in your life, regardless of who you are, you grow. And that is the purpose. That is life. If you're not growing, you are dying. Okay, so regardless of ADHD or normal, you should always share your time with people that inspire you and make you feel good. Some people should also be there to kick you in the butt when you are slacking off or when you're going in the wrong direction, absolutely. But yeah, this is just normal advice. Handheld fidgets. Okay, you can use things like a small bowl to roll in your hands, or you can use like a spinning ring, which I actually have. I don't have ADHD, however, I just like to use it. I bought it in Thailand and I just play with it all the time. I don't know if it brings me back to the present moment or if it just distracts me even further. However, the thing that the fidget toys are supposed to do is to help you to focus. So again, if you were able to build your focus in any means, then you're going to improve your ability to stay in the moment and stop getting distracted. So it's one way to be able to do it is to have something to bring you back to the present, to engage your senses. Meditation and mindfulness sort of stuff does this all the time anyway, so there's nothing unique or special here about fidget spinners or any of those things. It's literally just to bring you back into the moment, which again, focus is a muscle. Muscles can be trained, and I don't see any other reason to use it unless you want to. If you like that system, go for it. Use it for you. Okay. The next thing it says to do is paraphrase instructions. If you tend to lose focus while people is talking to you, try to paraphrase back what they said periodically during the conversation. This is normal, and this is what I tell everybody. This isn't a weakness of attention. This is a weakness of maybe motivation as well. Like, you need to be interested in the people you're speaking with, and then your short-term memory needs to be jumped every now and then to be able to remember the conversation anyway. So generally the tips that I give for anybody is to summarize what they've said and repeat their points back to them. Continue to ask questions because that creates curiosity, which improves your focus. And then it also solidifies the memory by repeating things back to them, which is repetition, which helps build those connections anyway. So there's nothing new about that one either. Next one is limit distractions. And again, same advice I give to everybody. If you are trying to, play with the cats while study for an exam or to take a meeting, it's probably better to take the cat out of the meeting room than to allow it to run around and distract everybody. So obviously, if you are trying to study or do some deep focus, it says to use earplugs. Yep, a lot of the time I have noise cancelling earphones, or I'll use my AirPods, which have noise cancelling as well. I'll put on lo-fi music, or I'll put on nature sounds or brown noise or healing sounds, Tibetan singing bowls. I'll do this sort of stuff anyway because it helps me to focus and it helps other people to focus. This is not unique to people with ADHD. This is just normal advice. Listen to soft music, yes, because if you have melodies and vocals, it tends to distract you regardless of ADHD or anything, okay? So turn off digital devices, absolutely, normal advice. If you want to focus, don't be on your smartphone looking at Instagram. You're going to be distracted every 1.5 seconds, so avoid that if you can. Remove unrelated objects to your view, absolutely. This is another thing, is to clean your space. If your space is really messy and dirty, your brain is scattered and distracted. So if you want to focus better, then make your space more tidy and clean so it minimizes distractions. So yep, this is all very normal advice. Try to use planners or other tools. I feel like this is a joke at this point. Yes, obviously we want to use daily planners because that's how you get stuff done. This isn't just for people this is just normal advice, everybody. I haven't seen anything unique here or even anything different to what I generally preach with memory training and focus and productivity. Another one, practice self-care. Okay. Get enough sleep. Obviously, sleep consolidates memory. It helps flush out a lot of the bad stuff in your brain while you sleep as well. So yeah, we know that sleep helps with focus and attention, also with weight management. It also stops you from having heart attacks when you get older. It helps you to stay healthy and not get sick. Like, we all know that sleep is important. This has nothing to do with ADHD. It's just normal. Okay. Fuel your brain and body. Obviously, if you're going to be eating KFC and Pizza Hut every single day, eating heavily processed fats and carbohydrates, you're probably not going to feel great. So I would suggest, yes, use your body, because when you fuel your brain and mind properly and your body and move your body and exercise, then of course you're going to feel better. You get more energy when you use more energy in the right ways. So yes. Stay active. Research indicates that regular physical activity may help improve attention and focus in people with ADHD. And everybody else on the planet. Cool. Great. There has been nothing in this article that suggests that ADHD people should have any different approach to focus or lifestyle in the slightest. This is just a normal thing I'd give to any client that's starting to improve their journey for memory, productivity, focus, and this is just very, very normal. So I don't know. I have nothing to add for that with ADHD. If you think you have ADHD and you think that you're unable to focus, well, this is the most normal advice I've ever seen. And this is apparently special or unique to people with ADHD. So anyway, I think this is wrapped up. There's nothing else I can say, honestly. This is just a normal piece of advice that you should take, regardless of if you think you have ADHD, ADD, neurodivergent, or dyslexia or anything. It's just normal advice. I don't care if you're a CEO, an entrepreneur, a business owner, if you work in a company, if you're an employee, if you're a team manager, if you're a project manager, a management consultant, if you're a lawyer, if you're a real estate agent, if you are a kid in school, if you're a student, university or college, this is the most normal advice that yes, you should take regardless of where you're at in life. You want to minimize distractions because the brain can't focus on more than one thing at one time. You want to repeat people's sentences and paraphrase their stuff back to them because it focuses your attention on the information. It also strengthens the connections by repeating it, and then also includes curiosity, which makes you focus again. Okay? Make sure that you're eating well. Make sure that you're eating decent food so it fuels your brain. Your brain only weighs 2%, but uses about 20% of your daily calories. So it needs food, it needs energy. So you need to be giving it the good energy as well. Make sure to move your body, because as you start to move your body, then more brain and oxygen goes to your brain, which helps you, not more brain and oxygen, more blood and oxygen goes to your brain, which helps you to be able to remember more information and everything as well. It helps to clear out brain fog and makes you feel better, which improves your confidence, which makes you just generally show up better in life in general. So none of this is unique. This is just very, very normal. And all the articles that I found out there are saying the exact same stuff. There's nothing that I would say that just because you have ADHD, you should do anything different. This is all the same advice. So good luck, all the best.